If you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, or you're just like, look, I am ready for that major upgrade in my life, you're in the right place. I've been there, sis, and I'm about to share with you my 90-day transformation plan that literally changed my life. Last year, I was feeling a lot of self-doubt, right? Because I was looking on Instagram, I was looking on TikTok, and I was just seeing all these different people celebrate all these major life milestones, right? They were getting married, they were having babies, they were buying homes. They're like, oh, I launched my business did X amount of dollars this year. And I felt like, okay, cool, like I am working and I'm paying bills, but what's going on? What's my own glow up? So I had to make a decision to change my life. And I said, you know what? In 90 days, I want to see my own glow up because I was in the way of myself. So the first step, ladies, in your 90-day transformation, in order to really have a real glow up. And I'm not talking about the glow up where it's like, okay, I look good, I'm wearing my lipstick, I'm doing my nails. I'm talking about a full transformation where even when you meet people in person, they're going to be like, I feel you, like I feel a difference. I feel a flow, a softness, right? It's a mindset shift. And in this mindset shift, ladies, you have to be able to think about, where do you want your future self to be? What does it look like? How does it feel? What does it taste like, right? And really just reflect on your mindset, because a lot of people don't understand that the difference between someone who has gone on the level up, glow up journey and the person has not is the mind. And also understand that your thoughts shape your reality. How you speak about yourself, how you see yourself, how you envision who you want to be is what's going to show up in your reality. If you don't really reflect on the future, and if you're like, I don't see myself as this beautiful woman who's abundant, who's living her dream life, if you don't think about that every single day, ladies, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Nothing's going to change, and you're just going to wake up and you're just going to be doing, right? You're going to do what you need to do to survive because we're humans, but you're not going to be in a mindset of being, right? And being is a mindset. So ladies, what I want you to do here is I want you to either journal, and I'm also going to talk about how you can do it through AI because I love this. I'm a techie, so I love using these type of tools. But I want you to journal your future self, right? And I want you to really just think of who you want to be. And I really want you to paint like a scene, right? It's not just about saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I want you to paint the scene, because when you literally write down who you're going to be, who you want to be, right? It's going to start happening and manifesting for you, right? And how you going to paint this scene is you're going to really first reflect on all the things you want out of life, right? Think about the different quadrants. So how do you want to come out through your career? Or maybe it's a business, right? How do you financially want to be? And it's not always about being rich. Sometimes your best rich life is more so being able to afford things that you care about. So for me, it's travel, right? As long as I can travel and I'm on business class and I'm in a nice little luxury villa, I'm good, right? I'm not really tied to, purses and shoes. But maybe that's your situation. Maybe you want to be able to walk into Dior store and buy whatever you want in that store, right? Whatever that is, think about that quadrant. Think about, how do you feel, right? Think about your health, your fitness. Think about all those different areas. How do you look physically, right? And then just about like, okay, I'm married, I have a child, I live here, I am this person. Like, really reflect on that. And I want you to really map out your dream day and just script it from beginning to end. What you can also do is you use AI. And I love this because I remember when I saw my perfect day as my dream self, I cried because I was like, this is who I want to be, right? And it's really just easy to go back to it in my notes and read it every day. But you can literally like tell ChatGPT and say, this is the person I want to be. This is the life I'm envisioning. And then literally write down all the different elements in the quadrant. And then you're going to say, paint my story, right? Paint my future self. And then it's going to do this masterful job of literally writing it all out for you in real time. Who you are, how you are, what you're feeling, who's in your life. It's going to paint this beautiful story for you so you can start to envision your best self. But on the other side, ladies, I also want you to reflect on things that are limiting you, right? Your limiting beliefs. And this is fear setting, right? Because a lot of times, like I said before, it is a mindset shift. It is all in the mental. So if you have limiting beliefs, and even if you write this perfect life and you're like, this is who I envision and this is my best self, if you have fear attached to it, you're not going to be able to literally do the 90-day transformation. You're not going to get on the glow up, level up journey. So I also want you to do some fear setting, and I want you to write out worst case scenarios, right? Of things that you don't envision for your life, right? But these are worst case scenarios, and I want you to say it out loud. And then I want you to write down how you can overcome them, because I want you to see that even in your worst case scenario, you can get back up. You can fight through it, right? There's a way you can get around the situation. So if you do that, I feel like it's going to set you up where you're going to have this envisioned, beautiful vision self, but also you're going to be able to say, but if I fall down in these ways, these are the ways I look to overcome it. And I know for me, right, a perfect example was a couple of years ago when I left my 9-to-5, right? And I didn't leave on the best terms. I'm going to be very honest, right? And I decided to do entrepreneurship full time. And it was scary, because I was like, look, I'm used to a paycheck every 2 weeks. I'm very clear on, how my money is coming in. I have a plan. I have 401k. Like, I had everything set up. But then what was interesting was when I was like, okay, but what is the worst? Like, how down can I go? And I talked about it, and then I was like, you know what? But I do have some fail-safe. I have some ways that I could get out of the situation. And really what I reflected on was like, at the end of the day, Chica, you could get a job again. Okay. So if entrepreneurship doesn't work out for you for whatever reason, you have the skills to get another job. And it's interesting because since I've left my 9-to-5, I feel more abundant, and literally money is flowing towards me, and I have more money and more wealth than I did when I was working 9-to-5, right? But it was about me literally laying out the worst case scenario, thinking through, okay, if these things happen, how do I get back up? Seeing that, oh, there's actually a plan for me, and then being able to move forward. Now, the next set in your 90-day transformation plan, ladies, is you need to do a energy audit. So you need to understand that you are a combination of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And you need to reflect on, okay, what are the energies around me? Are they pouring into me? Are they taking away from me? Like, literally do an energy audit. And you can do this in so many different ways. Like, as you go about your day, connecting with the people that you spend a lot of time with, think about, okay, what are we talking about, right? On the phone, what are we texting each other? What memes are we sharing each other, right? Are we laughing, kikiing, uplifting each other? Or is it like we're going tick for tat, right? If you got a man in your life, okay, audit him too, right? Do you feel like he's leveling you up? Do you feel like he's helping you pursue your dreams? Even your husband. Like, you really got to think through all the different energies in your life and do an audit. And I'll say this for myself, right? I know before I did the shift, right, of my 90-day transformation, I remember there was 2 people in my life in particular that, they were friends, but I really was like, every time I sit down with these people, I feel drained. Like, I feel tired, literally, right? I feel like I'm depleted. And I started asking myself why. And it was because one of them, every time I sat down with them, all they could do was complain. Like, they complain. This person did this person did that. And they would just sit, and it would just literally be about themselves, and they'll be complaining. And so I didn't feel like I was walking away being fulfilled or poured into. And then the other person that I was spending some time with, every time we have these 2-hour, 3-hour conversations, it was essentially her complaining about men and how much she did not like men. And if you watch the channel, you know how I feel about talking about that, right? Because again, if you want a man, you can't be hating men at the same time. It doesn't work. It doesn't add up. Okay. So when I thought about these 2 people, naturally, these 2 people kind of shifted out of my life because I started making changes in my life. I started showing up differently. I started getting serious about my feminine practice. And so femininity is about softness. It's about flowing. And I was like, you 2 are not flowing in my life. And they just kind of removed themselves. So I want you to do that energy audit. And how you can also do this is I want you to think about, okay, when I spend time with these people, is it draining me, right? Do I feel more filled up? Or do I feel like they're taken away from me? Do I feel depleted? And I want you to then start to reflect on, okay, depending on who this person is, because maybe it's family, maybe it's a situation where you can't just immediately move, but you may want to lessen that engagement. You may want to slow down how much you connect with that person. And then I want you to start to seek out people who are pouring into you, loving on you, affirming you. You'll be shocked. There's some people around you and they've been affirming you and you haven't looked at them, right? Because for whatever reason, you holding on to this soul tie over here, or this toxic situation over here, or this trauma bonding over here. So I want you to start to seek and connect and be in communion with people who are going to fill you up and are going to be part of your 90-day transformation. Because like I said, even though you are doing the work, you need the people around you who are going to hold you accountable and affirm you as well. Now, the next portion of your 90-day transformation is I want you to reflect on your career and your financial situation. And really what I want you to do here, ladies, is I want you to think about, okay, am I in a career or in a business that I really love, that is fueling my passion? Like I wake up and I'm excited to go to work. I'm excited to do this type of work, right? Or am I in this situation just to pay the bills? And it's really important because like I said before, when you're going on it's full transformation, everything needs to be lock and step, including your career and including how you're making money. And people like to say like, oh, that doesn't matter, like as long as you're happy and loving. No, it does matter. We live in a world where the world moves around with money. Okay, that's the truth. And you want to make sure you're in position where you're making money that you want to make, but you're also doing something you love. I want to introduce, ladies, the Ikagi concept, right? And this is a Japanese concept, and it's essentially like a bunch of different circles, right? And I'll put it up here for you to see. But essentially, it has to be a combination of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what people are willing to be paid for, right? And thinking through those different quadrants, and then basically in the circle, basically in the center is the Ikagi, right? It is where everything is coming together and it's working in communion with each other. So I want you to think about your career or your business in that way. And is it a combination of all these different elements? Also, ladies, I want you to reflect on whether or not you are making the type of money you want to make. And there's ways that you can have a full 9-to-5 career and you are skill stacking, right? So you're using your skills in order to make additional income or passive income, right? There's people that do this all the time. I'm a content creator and I know a lot of people who are working a 9-to-5 and they're also making money through content creation, and they don't want to be a content creator full time, but they're making a couple $1,000s a month extra because of it. Or maybe they're doing user generated content, right? And getting paid by companies to create this content while they're working their 9-to-5. So I want you to reflect on 3 to 5 skills that you have specifically, right? And skills that kind of fit this Ikagi concept, which is like things that people want to pay for, what the world needs, really reflecting on those 3 to 5 skills. And throughout this 90-day transformation, I want you to find a way that you can build up these skills. Again, you can look on YouTube for free and get the education. There are courses online. There are a lot of different, places, even Claude or ChatGPT. You can use that as a way to build up your skill sets. And I want you to start to build up your skill sets. And at the end of the 90-day transformation, I want you to reflect on what is a potential side hustle that I can do in order to start to also bring more income into my life, right? And again, there's thousands of them. Google it. If you want me to do a video about different side hustles, I'm more than happy to do that type of video. But also, you may want to just put yourself in position after these 90 days, if you're in a career, and ask for a promotion, right? The best way to do that is, I was a tech recruiter, so I know all about this, is start to document all the things that you're doing that are bringing value to the company. A lot of times people don't do that. They don't. So they just ask for promotion. They don't got no evidence. So document it throughout these 90 days. Document the values, the things you're doing, how you're showing up, how you're doing this, and then be able to go to your manager and ask for a promotion and be able to show and present the evidence of why you should get that promotion. And the truth is, ladies, if you're a woman, you're underpaid. I'm going to be very honest. If you're a woman, a lot of times we are not negotiating for the salary. So right up front, if you look at your male colleagues, you're probably getting less than them, right? And if you're a black woman, it's even more. So you're due for a raise. Okay, I'm telling you, you're due for a promotion, and use these 90 days to document everything and be able to ask that for promotion with evidence. Okay, ladies, now we're doing this 90-day transformation and we're going through all the different quadrants. So we have to talk about your physical and your well-being, right? And I think first of all, and I'm guilty of this as well, right? We are prone to diets, right? We're like, oh, we need to lose those 10 pounds. We need to lose those 15 pounds. I need to lose the weight. But I want you to start to reflect out through these 90 days. What is a lifestyle change that you can make when it comes to food? And specifically food, because I know already I work out, I spin, I do bar class, I lift weights. So a lot of times my body is in a really good tone position because I work out. But I know that a lot of times in order to get to my goal weight, I have to eat well, okay? 90% of the weight you're going to lose is in the kitchen. We all know that. So I want you to start to reflect around these 90 days. Okay, what is a way I can eat? How can I eat for my body that's nutritious, right? But also is in a way that gets to either my goal weight, or if you're at your goal weight, maintain my goal weight, right? And I really want you to reflect on it. There's so many different ways you could do this. Maybe you need to eliminate dairy, right? And you just use these 90 days to do that. And in particular, how you're going to do this as well is habit stacking. So if you have read The Atomic Habit, which is like the #1 book when it talks about changing your habits and changing something within 90 days, he says in the book that it starts with a tiny habit. It starts with a tiny stacking, right? It's like one little thing you do to something that you do every day. So maybe, for example, you say, you know what? I need to make sure I get my water in. And maybe you're going to brush your teeth. Okay. So before you brush your teeth, you have a glass of water right next to you. You drink that glass of water and then you brush your teeth. So again, you're going to do that, but you're attaching the habit you already have put in place with drinking the water. Maybe another thing is like, okay, you know what? Every day I have this call for 30 minutes, right? It happens every day. It happens whether or not I want to. Maybe you can attach a habit of walking, right? So you can go on a walking meeting, right? Where you're walking and you're talking to the person, and that's if it's possible. Not everyone can do this, but if you're in a situation where you're working remotely and you're like, oh, I have this meeting at this set time, then you can attach this habit of walking with the meeting. So I want you to start to think about like, what are small changes and habits you can start to add into your life, specifically habit stacking with things you already do anyways, right? And you'll be shocked that when you start to combine these two, you start to put yourself in a position where you're living a healthier life and you're actually getting to your goals because of these small changes that you're making in your life. And also, ladies, we talk a lot about losing weight and looking good and all that, but I also talk about wellness. And it's really important that you start to incorporate self-care without guilt, right? You need time to slow down, be with yourself, whether it's through meditation, affirmations. I talk about this every single video, the power of affirmations. Maybe you just simply block out time where is non-negotiable and you're doing some type of self-care, that you're really loving on yourself and you're just enjoying yourself. And sometimes it's like, I'm just doing nothing. Like every week I have 3 or 4 hours throughout this week. I'm just sitting down. I'm not doing anything. I don't have to be anywhere. I'm not in a rush. I'm just really loving on me, right? So think about how you can also make sure to incorporate self-care with the fitness, right? Because those two things go together. And it's like I said, it's a full transformation. You don't want to only just look good. You also want people to look at you and be like, okay, you're actually glowing from the inside out, right? You want people to be like, you feel soft. I know for me, when people meet me, they're like, you feel soft. And I feel like what they're trying to say is they feel that I do the self-care, that I live softly, but also I'm taking care of myself as well. And so for me, in my situation, I know something that I was actually trying to do was I was trying to transition to a morning person. I do not like waking up early. That's just not my ministry. But what I did to, again, habit stack, something that I was already going to do and then add a new habit, was I really love spin, right? I love going to spin class. It makes me feel good. It's something that I will do without fail. I'm pretty on it with my spin class. So I said, you know what? I typically do spin class in the evening, right? And again, it's just further nurturing this night owl thing I'm trying to kick. So what I started to do was 2 things. So number 1, my husband also likes the spin class, but he's a morning person. So he literally is my alarm clock. I set an alarm to go in the morning, and I kind of get up because I know I'm going to a spin class, something that I want to do anyways, right? And I feel good going to it. So that's how I habit stack, which is making sure someone woke me up in the morning, make sure I set my alarm, but also connecting it to an activity that I genuinely love as well. Okay, ladies, now we're at the point where in this 90-day transformation, it's important that you start to incorporate some type of learning, right? Continuous learning. And I think one way that you can look at it, ladies, is through the T-shaped method, which is you have a broad base of knowledge, but then you go deep on specific subjects, right? And a couple of ways that you can think about this, ladies, is that it's really important that you're continuously learning, right? It's not enough just to, I went to school and that's all I know, right? You need to be reading books. You need to be educating yourself on different skill sets. So I want you to push yourself throughout these 90 days to do two things. So number one, I want you to make it a habit to read something in the morning that's educating you and deepening your knowledge on a specific area of life. You can think about it. Maybe it's a language. Maybe it's going back to the skill, like some skills that you're trying to learn in order to get a promotion or to start to do a side hustle. But think about something that you would love to read about every morning. It could just be 10 to 15 minutes. It don't got to be like hours and hours of reading, but 10 to 15 minutes, you are spending time reading and deepening your knowledge on a specific subject. But the other thing I want you to do here, ladies, when it comes to personal development is I want you to commit yourself over the next 90 days to really show up and learn something new, right? Again, you're increasing your knowledge base. You're increasing what you know. And you could do different things. Again, it could be like, for example, I'm on YouTube, right? And I'm literally learning about YouTube in real time. So every day I wake up, I commit myself to reading something about YouTube and educating me. And you know, it's interesting because when you commit to 90 days of learning something new, you'll be shocked how you become a whole different person. You literally show up and you're like, wow, like I didn't realize I could be like this. I didn't realize I can have this deep knowledge. And I think also, ladies, as you're doing this 90-day transformation and the personal development part, you need to understand it's important to be curious. A woman who is refined, who is just living this global, beautiful life is a curious woman. She's curious about things around her. She's curious about traveling. She's curious about, how she shows up. She's curious about learning. And she's putting herself in position to continuously educate herself and learn more and more about the world around her, right? And the thing is, ladies, like, you have to envision that you go to a dinner party. And if you're not educating yourself and learning something new every single day, what are you going to talk about? And ladies, what I want you to think about is there's going to be certain dinner parties you go to, and there's going to be a level of conversations they're having. And if you're not educating yourself, you can't join the conversation because you have nothing to add, right? I was at a dinner party yesterday and we talked about everything, right? We talked about Diddy's case, but from like a legal standpoint. We talked about certain situations and issues that are happening in the country. We talked about the elections. We went all different types of directions, right? And if you're not able to flow in these different type of directions because you're not educating yourself and you're not doing continuous learning, it's going to be very hard for you to keep up. And it's going to be very hard for you to move up to certain levels of people without that sophistication of educating yourself and knowing more and more and more. As you are doing this whole 90-day transformation plan, you're leveling up, you are glowing up along this journey, I want you to think about a couple of things here. So number one, it's very important that you find someone that can hold you accountable throughout these 90 days. It can be a friend, it can be a mentor, it can be a family member, maybe you got a sister, a brother, but someone you can just let them know, hey, I am going on this 90-day transformation. Just can you check up on me? I want to make sure that I can talk to you about what I'm thinking about, how I'm feeling, and also the struggles. You may just want to have someone who is going to check in on you and say, hey, you said you're going to do this. You said you're going to show up in this way. Are you doing it? How are you feeling? And being able to talk to someone in real time about it. And I know for me, when I went on my 90-day transformation, I had a few friends I could call, right? Like phone a friend. I had some people I can call in order to just help me and think through certain things and, pivot, right? Because another thing I want you to think about as you're doing this 90 days is you may pivot. There may be things that you said you want to do, or there may be activities that you said is important throughout these 90 days and you decide it's not working, it doesn't make sense, I need to pivot. So a perfect example is maybe you say, you know what, I'm going to cut out dairy, right? And you really want to cut out dairy. That was the plan you had. And maybe a month in, your body doesn't feel good. And you're like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to cut out dairy completely. Maybe I just need to cut it out a little bit. Maybe I need to scale it back. Whatever it is, you think about it. Again, we talked about habit stacking. Maybe you say, you know what? I'm going to commit to 90 days of waking up at 6 a.m. to work out. And for whatever reason, maybe it doesn't feel good, maybe it's hard, you know, and I don't want you to be hard on yourself, because I think it's very easy as you're doing these 90 days is to be super hard, super judgmental, like, oh, I said I'm going to be a 6 a.m. person, but I can't do it. Like, no, it takes time, right? And it's about refinement. So maybe it's going in the afternoon, right? And then you work your way up to being a 6 a.m. person. But whatever it is, I want you to be able to be okay with pivoting. And I want you also to be okay that you're going to make shifts and changes along the way. But as long as you're moving forward, right, in your 90 days, and you're able to look back in 90 days and say, wow, like these are all the things I accomplished, which is why it's important to journal this process, then you're going to feel like a different person. And if you can truly commit to yourself, ladies, you're definitely going to glow up, and you're definitely going to level up your whole life in all the different quadrants of your life. Now, ladies, I love when you join me in these videos, so make sure you like and you comment, because I want you to share with me if you are on this journey, right? We can do this journey together. We're literally at the end of the year, right? So this is the perfect time to do this 90-day transformation, especially before the new year happens, because the people who are transforming their lives, they're doing the work right now so that next year they show up as a different person, right? So I want you to comment if you're doing this, if this is what you needed, this is what you wanted to hear, and of course subscribe so that every week we're going to keep leveling up together, and I'm going to keep sharing more gems for you. So in my next video, you can click it right here, I talk about how I went from anxious to secure by detaching, right? I detached, I mastered it, and I'm going to show you how to do it as well. So join me in the next video.